life is basically a sum of all your experiences, and the money that you make in life should be able to complement this.
There's points in times, phases, if you will, in your life to where an experience would give you the most value.
All right, guys, really excited today to be here with you guys. Today we have another amazing book to go over that I am really excited. This book is called Die with Zero. It's by Bill Perkins, and it was recommended to me by my good friend Brandon. Brandon, welcome to the show.
Thanks, man.
This book, I gotta say, I was really excited to do this podcast because this was, I'm gonna say to a certain extent, life changing for me. It was a lot of good takeaways. Give us your feedback on why you like this book and why you recommended it.
Yeah, short book. I just read it recently, and I think the subtitle is what is it? Getting all you can from your money in your life, and that really sums it up. It's really eye-opening, and really just makes you think in terms of more purposeful spending of your time and your money.
Yes, that is a lot of it.
Getting off of the autopilot.
Yeah, that's a lot of it. So I think one of the ways he starts off the book is he gives a story about some good friends that were at their young age of 18, 19 years old. And one of the friends takes a loan, a $10,000 loan from a loan shark to go on a trip to Europe. And the friend that took the loan went out, had a lot of amazing experiences, had a great time, loved it. While the other friend was just criticizing them the whole time. Like, why would you put yourself in that kind of debt? Like, this is not the right thing to be doing. You're going to get set back in life. However, when he comes back from the trip from Europe, he's sharing all these wonderful experiences that he had, the women he met, the places he got to see, all the amazing sceneries. And the friend asked him, hey, do you regret it? Do you regret taking out that loan to go do that? And he says, absolutely not. Like, it was one of the best times of my life. And later on, the friend says he shares that, hey, when he became 30 years old, he finally had enough money where he felt financially stable to go take that trip. However, he says he was not able to have that same experience because he was older, had kids now. He wasn't able to stay at the hostels like he would at young. He wasn't able to travel on being single. He had friends, he had family. So the experience was totally different. And he brings up something in the book really important. It's called time buckets. So give us some feedback on what the time buckets on the book.
Yeah, time buckets. The way the author writes about them is basically there's points in times, phases, if you will, in your life to where an experience would give you the most value, or experience points or something, I believe is what he calls it. But it's more fun. It's, you're able to maximize that experience. I think what he talks about, one of similar experience as the traveling to Europe is like a ski vacation where, when your ski vacation's relatively expensive, I guess when you're younger, it's like you don't have the money to do it, but you have your health that you're able to have a really good time skiing. And it's like, but when you're 80, you're probably not able to ski. Most people, or if you are, it's very limited. So you go skiing anytime you want to, but you can't have that same experience of skiing. And it talks about various experiences, but the reverse can also be true. Like you could still have basically almost the same experience of going to the theater or watching a movie as older you get. So there's appropriate times to enjoy these experiences based on what your kids are, your health, and other stuff like that.
And a perfect example he uses on the book, he says, hey, if you're climbing Mount Everest is on your bucket list, you're probably better off trying to do that while you're younger, when your health is still there. No point in trying to do that when you're 65, 70. So that's what he really means by time buckets, right? Trying to appropriate the bucket list, your bucket list of goals and experiences that you want to do in life based off of your health and your age.
Yeah, and I think for us, it was just, that's obvious, but until somebody points it out, it's not necessarily something to think about it, because it's like, you can't post, you say like one day I'm going to do X, but it's like, you can't, one of the things that he kept saying was you can't postpone it indefinitely. You're just not going to do it after a certain age.
Yeah. That was really good. That was a really good takeaway from it. I really, really liked that. The making sure that you're appropriating the goal based off of your time and your health, and not so much all the way around. I mean, like he was saying, you can take a trip like a cruise ship at any point in time in your life and be able to appreciate it. But there are certain things like maybe snorkeling in Australia or climbing Mount Everest or just doing something on an extreme level. Like those are some of the things you're probably going to enjoy better while you're young and healthy. So those are one of the good things. And really essentially what he says on the whole book is that really life is basically the sum of all your experiences. And the money that you make in life should be able to complement this. Right? That's why you're trying to make money, to have more experiences. That's what it should really be about. I thought that was really good. Or something else that you wanted to, some other good takeaways that you have from the book?
The main takeaway was what you just said is not, or I guess the main takeaway being that you, in order to build wealth, right? We talked about it's, first, when you're starting out, when you're young, you have to save in order to build wealth, unless you just fall into a situation where you're making enormous income.
Yeah.
But so you kind of get preached to, the way to build wealth is to spend less than you earn. And so save the rest, invest the rest. And that serves you well up to a certain point. But at a certain point, like, you have to spend it. Otherwise, like, what are you doing? You're just gonna get to the end of your life, and you keep on saving and investing more than you are outflowing. You get to the end, and maybe you have, or I think he talks about the lady in the book that just dies with millions of dollars, and it's like, in a sense, it's a waste because of all the experiences. Or even if he talks about charity and inheritance, which is great things, but you could have done that while you were alive.
That was,
and maximized.
Yeah, and he compares the experience of like when you go get a rental car, right? And you prepay for the fuel of the car. So essentially you already paid for the fuel, you take the rental car out. Your goal should be to try to bring that car back with an empty tank. And that's essentially what you're trying to do with life. You're trying to maximize your experiences so that you get the most out of it, just like the rental car. And I believe the whole premise of the book is basically dying with zero money in your account, that you were able to spend all of it on as many experiences as possible. Because remember, life is a sum of our experiences. That's what it's all about. So the main thing that everybody brings up, and even my takeaway was when he started talking about this, well, what about the kids? And that's something he talks about in the book. Everybody always brings up, well, what about the kids? And he makes a really good point that was very, very life impacting me. And I, for one, is probably the biggest takeaway that I took from the book. He says, why do you have to wait till you die to give your kids an inheritance? He says, how impactful is it going to be for your kids to receive an inheritance when they're 65, when they're 70? Makes no sense. And it clicked in my head, like, really, really good. Like, absolutely. Like, you're 75 years old. You already have your finances in order. You already have your family. You have your house. The best time, he says in the book, to give your kids an inheritance is somewhere between 35 to 37. Is that what he says? Something like that. And that's all going to be based off of you. But even if you don't want to give your kids an inheritance, donating to charity, whatever it is that you plan on doing with your money, you're better off doing it while you're alive, because you're going to be able to get a lot more joy and experience out of it versus when you're dead. And once you're dead, you're not going to be able to get any of that. So one of the big takeaways too is it's something that he didn't really talk about in the book, but it's something with my own experience, is that when somebody dies, the families a lot of times get torn apart fighting for that inheritance. So many families, so many times, you see it time and time again, that the families get torn apart because the kids are fighting over the inheritance. So why not just do that while you're alive, if you're going to do it? And if you're not going to do it, then why not give it away while you're alive so you'll be able to enjoy it? So that was one of the best takeaways I took from it. And I'm trying to figure out ways around it to be able to do such things, just to make sure that, hey, my will's intact, and that if I die young, everything's going to be sorted out. But I do plan on, when my kids turn, 35, or you could even just use that money instead of inherit it to them. paying for their wedding, taking them on family trips, like spending it on your family with experiences you want to have with them while you're still here versus, giving it to them when they don't need it really at a later date in age. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it was, again, it just brought to the forefront something that's so obvious, but that we just don't think about. And it ends up being like, you get, somebody gives an inheritance because like maybe it's intentional or maybe it's not intentional. Maybe it's just the way it ended up. They just kept on saving. And he goes through the inheritance question and some other questions on like why people are basically it's a problem in financial planning. In the niche of financial planning is those people who do accumulate wealth. They've been saving it and then they like overestimate how much they're going to need to spend, or they're more worried about, because another big thing is like, well, unforeseen circumstances or medical expenses and stuff like that. It's like, well, there's insurance and there's different things where you can mitigate that risk. And if you really think about it, with Social Security and 401ks and stuff, you just being conscious of all that and kind of running the math and conceptually, one, it can give you a sense of ease as to like maybe like this retirement or maybe the future isn't like as a big a problem as I'm thinking it to be, because I haven't really put the numbers to it. And that enables you to, one, have more experiences now, but then have kind of like that ease of mind of like actually having thought it through.
He talks about borrowing from your future self to be able to have experiences today. Like understanding that as you're younger, you don't have a lot of money, but as you're growing older, you're going to have more money. So that was the idea behind that guy borrowing those $10,000 to go have that experience. Hey, I don't have that money now, but I know that in a year I'll have it, in 2 years I'll have it. So it's okay. And not waiting and postponing things, putting them off over and over again, because then eventually you're going to be 65, 70 years old. Health is going to be deteriorated. Yeah, you're going to have a lot of money, but now you don't have the energy to do a lot of the things that you wanted to do. So those are really, really good points. So I hope there was some good takeaways from the book. This is very impactful for me and my family. So hopefully you guys were able to get some good knowledge out of it. And thank you all for watching the show. Brandon, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. We're looking forward to maybe we can do another one. And we'll see you guys in the next one.